Okay, so good morning, guys. Welcome back. Today is our Git Day-2 session, right? And today the date is 15th of November 2025, and the timing is morning 9:05 a.m. IST. Sorry, guys. Uh, there is some problem. I have a health issue, so because of some health issue, right, I couldn't continue the class from last 4 5 days, right? Hence we got little bit delay with our syllabus, right? So but still anyhow, like, let us try to continue from today onwards, right, the Git session. So before we get into the day 2 sessions, like what we had covered on the day 1 was basically we tried to cover about the pipelines, right? How exactly pipeline look like in our DevOps, and what are the different types of pipelines we have, and how to create a pipeline, and what are the different tools which comes in the entire pipeline. That's what we had discussed broadly, right? And also we had discussed about some of the things like security aspects. Like we also discussed about the platform engineering, what exactly platform engineering is all about. And at the end, like we discussed about what are the most important tools which are required for us to fetch a job in the DevOps actually, right? So I mentioned that there are 4 important tools which we have to learn it, right? So this is what pretty much we had covered at day 1. So we didn't really cover anything related to Git, but we saw that okay, Git is something, it's a source code versioning tool. So whenever a developer trying to write any kind of a code, right, basically he has to store that code in a centralized location, which is nothing but the version control system, VCS we call. And Git is one of the VCS, version control system, where we can store the data. This is what we had just covered it. We didn't really get into much into the Git at all. Sorry. So what we're going to do in today's session, guys. So even like right. So in today's session, guys, again I would say that I will not be covering anything on Git today. One day I will not cover on Git. We will try to cover the Git aspect from the day 3 onwards. That is from next class onwards. But what we are going to do today, or what we're going to do in our session. So guys, if you remember, like I've been telling from some time ago, like we want to see like how exactly the AI has influenced a lot in our day-to-day activity, right? Because without AI in today's time, right, we cannot do any kind of a work. So what I thought that, okay, let me take some sessions on a AI, like artificial intelligence, so that we'll get to know about like how exactly this AI is, no, it is actually influencing our day-to-day activity work. Say for example, I'm a DevOps and cloud engineer. Okay, I need to understand like how exactly AI is going to help me to solve my day-to-day problem, right? And also how it will try to increase my productivity. If I'm very good at DevOps and cloud, I want to enhance my knowledge, I want to become in an expert level. Yes, your AI will try to solve all those problems, or it will try to give the solutions for you to become an expert in your domain actually. So AI is everywhere actually. So what I thought that let me try to add on one session or 2 sessions, so that people will get to know what is this AI is all about. We have been keep hearing something about LLM models, right? Right. So we know that like we have been using this LLM model a lot at many places, right? Say for example, you might have come across with some tools, AI tools known as a Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT and Google's Gemini, or else we have a Perplexity. So we might have come across a lot of tools, right? So basically what happened, all these tools, how these tools works internally, they use this something known as a models, and they call that model as a LLM model. LLM model means large language models, we say. What we call? We call as LLM models. Now again, what are these models all about? These models are nothing but, guys, these are how I can say, these are nothing but you can say consider it as a some kind of a program which is running in the back end, which will try to build a system. Okay, and that build a system is nothing but the models, we can consider in that way. Okay, so we will learn about, not in very detail about this LLM models, guys, because we are not programmers. But what I would suggest, what I would really discuss about the LLM models is we will try to understand how these LLM models will solve our problems. So that is what I need to stress on that. So we will try to learn about very, very basic aspect, like from very high level we will understand. We will not go in very much in detail, because if you get into very much in detail about learning this LLM models, about this AI into very deeper way, if you try to learn it, guys, you need to be, you'll be getting across with a lot of types of models, different types of models, how to work with that models. You should be good at some kind of a mathematical or statisticals. You need to be good at that. And also you need to be very good at some of the programming language like Go language and Python language for you to start developing these LLM models. So this is, it will lead to little bit more complex way for us to understand. So I will not really go into that detail. Okay, and to be very honest, we need not to go in that much detail to learn about what is LLM model is all about, unless until you want to really learn about this machine learning or AI learning and all, right? You want to get into that field, like you can go and learn about that. But as of now, since we are a DevOps and cloud engineer, for us, getting into that much programming stuff in machine learning is not required at this point of time, I'm saying. Okay, later our plans will get changed. We might have to learn certain things. So yeah, in that time, like we will consider it, how to learn it, and what are the different models we need to learn it, and which is most used models in our day-to-day activity work. I will even discuss those things. Maybe if not in today's session, in tomorrow's session, I will discuss those things actually. Right. So what I'm trying to do is say that actually we will try to understand today what are these LLM models all about, or what is AI is all about, and then like try to understand like how these LLM models were built and how these LLM models will solve our day-to-day activity or day-to-day activity, and also how it will enhance our learning in DevOps and cloud. This is what we will be pretty much covering in today's session, right? And also we'll also see how these AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or many other tools are there, how this can be used, right? And what kind of information we need to give as input to this ChatGPT or Gemini tool, and what kind of a response or what kind of output we are going to get. That also we need to analyze it. We'll see in today's session like how exactly we can communicate with these AI tools. So that communicating with these AI tools is something we might have heard, something we know as a prompt engineering, right? So prompt engineering something we give some kind of an inputs to these tools, AI tools, and we get an output actually, right? So how this giving an input to this tool and how we are going to get an appropriate output, this is something prompt engineering is all about. And some of us have, they've been knowing this prompt engineering from quite some time. Some of them might be new, some of them might never know like how exactly we need to give the prompt engineering. So so many things are there, guys, which we will try to understand in today's session, and we will see like what is the best technique to be used when we are giving any kind of a prompts to this AI tool actually, right? When we learn this is a stepping stone for us actually. This is a stepping stone in sense we have to learn from here itself actually, right? How these tools can be better used in our day-to-day activity to learn DevOps on cloud in a better way. So you can use these tools in multiple ways, guys. It's not only like it's not like a Google, like where you throw some question and you get answer. Yes, of course, this AI tools will give you all the answers to you. Whenever you throw any question, it will give answer to you. But what is the best way of providing a question to these tools? Okay, and how we can exactly get an answer, something like a restricted answer from these tools. This is what you have to learn, and this is something we call the prompt engineering. Right, you might have heard that a lot of people say that okay, you need to do this course for prompt engineering. Okay, you will learn in a better way of how to interact with these tools and all. You might have come across with various different tools. A lot of people in the YouTube know, they started from very long time they started telling more about these prompts and all, right? You might have heard about B10X, right, by Aditya Kachwe and Aditya Goenka, right? They keep telling all these things, and they said okay, people got some 50 lakhs package, 60 lakhs package. That actually it's true, that is actually nonsense. So nobody will get only by learning prompt, right? Nobody will get that much salary. If some company is giving that much salary, so you let me know, I will go and join that company. So, right, only by learning prompt engineering just to give some inputs, no, you won't get that 30, 40, 50 lakhs and all. So that is completely nonsense. Okay, but like we need to learn about like how we can give a better prompts to this AI tool so that we will get a better response from this, right? That is what we have to learn actually. And as I said, right, in DevOps and cloud, right, this is the stepping stone actually. This is a stepping stone for all of us to learn, understand this tool actually. That's a very, very beginning. Later, there are many other things are there which we have to learn, but I'm just saying that this is what we have to start learning. Okay. Now, guys, now before we start all these things, let us try to understand what is AI is all about actually. AI is something we call as an artificial intelligence. Can anyone tell me what is this AI? I mean, from very layman term. Anyone, any thoughts in your mind, anything? What is AI is all about? Can anyone? Anything, guys. Don't worry about the answers. Like it could be, we might not give a perfect answer or something like that. Naveed, can you tell me anything about this? What is AI? What do you mean by AI? Anybody? राजीव भाई कोई भी राजीव कोई भी कुछ भी आपके दिमाग में आता हो कुछ भी आपका आता हो गणेश कुछ भी आता हो सर AI का मतलब ये है ऐसे कुछ भी बोल सकते हो आप यू कैन से एनीथिंग आयो
Okay.
कैन यू टेल मी
Okay, let me try.
या
Okay,
प्लीज
so
ट्राई
AI is like making machines to mimic human brain, like making machine to think like humans.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That is our AI was all about. So suppose, for example, if a human is doing certain things, actually, if we make a machine or if we make a system to do the same way as human are doing, that is what we call as a artificial intelligence. That is very much correct. I can say it's a perfect answer. So AI is all about like making a system to understand the way human thinks actually. Okay, this is in a very layman term actually, right? Now, when this AI was evolved actually, like AI was evolved very long back, guys. When the computation was started, right? When the computation was started, means that when the people started working on a computation part, when they started working on computing with the mathematical solving a lot of mathematical problems, right? That at the same time, AI was also started parallelly like right there was one person by name I think his name was Alan Turing. So there he coined one word as a Turing test actually, right? If you go to the Google, okay, and if you just start say that actually that what is Turing test and when it was proposed. If you Google it out, guys, you're going to get some information about that. Alan Turing, he was a British mathematician. He in 1950s, right? He started with this Turing test actually. So what this Turing test is all about? This will try to test like whatever the intelligence a human has. Can we have a same intelligence with the system or the machine, right? So that it reacts the same way how the human reacts it. So that is the kind of a testing he came with this. And see, in the year 1950 itself, this testing was came, and he released the Alan Turing paper, also white paper, in the same time actually. So it means that AI is not new to this world. AI was there when the initial computing was started. During the same time, this Turing testing was also started actually in 1950s by Alan Turing actually, right? Correct, guys. So this was some kind of a test it was conducted, and even today also this testing is very much valid. Even today also, whatever we propose with any kind of an AI model, they run the Turing testing on the new AI model and they see that how it behaves actually. So still this Turing test is still valid. People are using this Turing test even today also, right? Now the thing is that when this was proposed and when the people started really working on this AI, right? So we came across with something known as a, I can say as a AI winter actually. If you try to Google AI winter, right, and if you go to the images, guys, can you see here? This is what the time line actually. If you open this page, okay, and right. Okay, I think this much is, yeah, this is something, right? So guys, if you see it actually in the 1950s where no actually your computing system got started actually during the same time the Turing was also started, right? After 1950s you could see that in early 70s and in the late 80s, right, there are a lot of Turing testers happening. It means there's a lot of people started showing interest in making AI to be called actually. So during that time, what happened, right? They invested a lot of money in that projects, right, where they want to build a system where it exactly behaves like a human actually. So you could see that this was something like a very boom time, they say actually. Boom time, because a lot of investment money was put into this, building the systems actually. So this is what we call as a winter session, like something like a first AI winters and second AI winter. So during this time, a lot of money was invested and to bring up a system, but ultimately what happened, they couldn't get succeeded because we didn't get that kind of an output during this period actually. After that, what happened? After some time, when in early 90s or in the late 90s and in the early beginning of the in the 2000, right, a lot of programming stuffs came into the world actually, because a lot of languages came into the in the world, and people started coding a lot of languages, sorry, coding, they started coding a lot of programs, mathematical computation, everything through some kind of a language actually. And like we started learning about like what these programs or the application will benefit to the end user, right, how we can solve all kind of our complex problem by writing these programs. And if you give any kind of inputs to this program, what kind of an output you are going to get, all those things started very eventually. It started in early or in the late 90s, it started, right. Lot of big companies, right, they came up with a lot of programming things, and people, companies started building these applications actually. So this is where something during the early 2000 or early 2000, what happened, right, things started getting into the better way. And at the same time in early 2000, what happened, right, even this whatever we had left this AI, right, it started getting again, started getting again, means people started investing a lot of money onto the learning this deep learning revolution, everything in the early 2000 actually, right. So right, and that's how you could see that in last couple of years, like from last 4 or 5 years, you could see that this has become very much boom in boom, right, because a lot of like a lot of models were developed actually. And like the AI went to such a peak level that people started using this AI as in our day-to-day activity, right. We never knew that like AI is going to come so much that every one of us, each one of us in today's time, right, will start using in our day-to-day activity. We never knew that 5 years back, right. But now you could see that every company is implementing it because they are seeing a lot of benefit from that, right. So that's the reason what happened in the last 4 or 5 years, right. Lot of things drastically got changed. And you could see that actually that like a lot of new models have been evolved actually, right. And these models will help you to build an AI tool. Through the help of an AI tool, what happened, right, you will be able to solve any of your problems actually, right. If I want to tell you really some of the things which was really revolutionized, was something like translators, right. Like for example, Google has a translator, language translators, right. Suppose you take an English language, you can able to translate to any language. Like you can able to transfer from English to the French, you can able to transfer from English to Japanese, you can translate anything. So the barrier of understanding the language is no more now, right. If you go to any country, if you have a Google translator installed in your the app installed in your mobile, right, you'll be able to easily communicate with anyone, right. It's not that difficult for us to it's not that very much difficult to understand things actually, because the AI is solving a lot of lot of problems or day-to-day activity problems. All those things are being resolved easily by this AI, right. So now, so this is where, guys, as I said, right, in the early 2000, right, lot of things started going on, because lot of programming aspects, everything evolved, right. And you could see that actually, like for example, if you see it actually, say for example, the industries, right. Suppose for example, like you want to apply for the home loan, right. I'm just taking an example of, you want to apply home loan. You want to just calculate like what would be my home loan, how much monthly I'm going to pay the EMI, and what would be the principal amount, what would be interest amount. So you need to get some kind of information where you'll be able to easily calculate, right. Okay, this much is the loan. If I apply for some 30 lakhs, what could be the duration of the loan to be paid, and how much monthly I have to pay the EMI, how much is how much is an EMI, sorry, how much is the principal amount, how much is interest amount, something like that. You need to get some kind of a calculation, you should get, so that you'll be able to understand what is what is this home loan is all about. So that actually, guys, like when started people started building the applications, right. So they build these applications. So usually what happened, you need to give certain kinds of inputs actually. You need to give certain kinds of inputs. Say for example, you need to give like what is the loan amount you need actually, okay, for how much duration you need to give. So certain inputs you need to provide to a system, right? Yeah. So once you give an input, basically what happened, right, you have some kind of an application program which is built actually, which will take this an input. It will do at the back end, it will give some kind, it will do some kind of a computation, and finally you will get some kind of an output you're going to get, right? You're going to get some kind of an output. So it's something like if you, Rajesh, if you give up the loan amount, what you needed and the duration of it, probably the output you're going to get like, okay, for this duration, this much is a loan and this much is interest, and every month you will get some kind of an EMI, and that EMI is a combination of both principal amount plus interest amount. Something you will give, it will give you some big calculation to show you the output. So by seeing that, you will be able to understand, okay, this is what the EMI will be paying every month like that, right? So it has made your it has made the I can say it has made your problem solve very easily, because something people start building in applications actually. And this application is something where they use some language to build it. Say for example, they might have used C, C++ or Java language, or any kind of a language is available, right? They have used that language to build this application. They use some kind of a logic or algorithm. They build an algorithm for that. And when you give any kind of an input to this algorithm, the algorithm will try to compute it. It will try to take an input and it will try to compute it. Once the computation and finally it will give the output, right? Or else you can say that, Rajesh, somebody has built an application. Okay, you can take that application. So this application cannot directly work on it, because you need to first compile it. After compiling, you will build a package, and that package you need to install in a system. Once in the system, the package or that application software is installed, then later you give the inputs to this program, and the program will in turn in the back end it try to learn it try to run some algorithm, and that algorithm will give an output to you. Something like that, you will get some kind of a solution, or you're going to get some kind of an output actually, right? So it means that when we are giving an input, we know that with this system, Rajesh, we are going to get the output. Yeah. Okay, this is something which was very much fascinating, and like a lot of companies, they started building a lot of applications, right? It's not only this simple application, it's a very large, big application. They started developing it, and to solve any kind of a problem, right? To solve any kind of a requirement, right? These programs were heavily built, and a lot of languages were introduced, and you know that this by using these languages, people started coding, and they started coming up with a lot of software technologies, right? This is how the evolution started, in the last past 20 to 25 years actually, right? Okay, fine. This was going on well. Okay, in the early 2000, all these things were going well actually. Fine. Now the thing is that some people started thinking in a different way. Okay, what are those different way? Like here we know that, okay, Rajesh, we give some kind of an inputs like this to this program or to this application, we will get some kind of an output actually. Yeah, this is okay, this is good, right? So far so good actually. But now what happened? People started thinking in a different way actually. What is a different way? So people start thinking that, okay, I know that what kind of an inputs I am giving it. I know that, okay, there are some kind of inputs I'm giving it. Okay. Okay, I know that I'm giving some kind of inputs. I also know some kind of an output I'm getting. I'm getting certain output also with this. So I know about the inputs, I know about the outputs. I know about the inputs and I know about the outputs. Now, can we build any kind of a system where, okay, where we already a user knows that, okay, this is the input I give, this is the output I'm going to get it. Fine. Can I build any kind of a system, guys, where what happened, right? Based on the inputs what you're giving, right? Based on inputs, right? Based on input, it calculates, it understands what kind of input a user is providing to you, and it understands that, okay, what kind of an output a user is expecting. Based on that, in the back end, it will try to do some kind of computation so that you'll be able to get the output the way you required it. So it means that in this scenario, we know what are the inputs, what are the inputs. We need to build some kind of a system where it can intelligent think that, okay, if a user is giving some other inputs in the later stage, okay, later stage, I need to get an appropriate output. And how to get that appropriate output, this is what you're going to tell to the system to think over. So this is something we call it as a machine learning. This is what we call it as a machine learning. So we know that for certain inputs, we have got certain output. This is a predefined output. We know that some output you are going to get. But in tomorrow, if we are giving some inputs, how it will predict what should be the output or what kind of output you are going to get it. Is there any kind of a program or a system where it can actually do some kind of a computing and it can give you certain kind of an output? This is something we call as a machine learning actually. And to be very broadly specific, this we call it as a models actually. So we need to build a model where the model will think that, okay, user is giving certain inputs, what should be the output you're going to get it actually, right? So this is something we call it as a prediction. We call it as a prediction. Okay, these are the inputs I give, statistical inputs I give. Okay, in the near future, if I have this kind of a question or I have this kind of a problem, what could be the output for it? So you are just trying to give some kind of a, you need to give some kind of a statistical input of some data to a system where with help of some models actually what happened, it calculates and it will predict and it says that, okay, this could be an output actually, right? This is something we call it as a machine learning. So this machine learning, what happened guys, this already started in the early 2000, like in from 2002 2003 onwards. This started, the people started building this machine learning concepts actually, and they came up with a lot of models actually. They were building these models, right? Am I clear, sir? Right? To give a better example, suppose for example, you want to understand, okay, Rajesh, how this machine learning works or something like that. Like if I want to take really an example, okay, let me don't think, let me open some Excel sheet. Okay. Now guys, assume that guys, you have, assume that I'm just taking some some examples. Okay. Uh, yeah, something like that. For example, assume that like you are having your electronic shop in some mall actually, right? If you go to Bangalore, right, you have a lot of malls. PVR malls are there. Orion Mall is there. Assume that in some of the malls you are having your own electronic shop there actually, right? And you have recently opened you have opened your mall actually, right? So now what you do basically, like you have some kind of a statistical information. Like for example, on the first day of your opening your mall, okay, you found that there are a lot of visitors comes to visit your shop actually. But out of all those visitors, how many people are the actual customers who purchase certain kind of a goods from you, right? Those are nothing like customers actually, right? And also like let me add some other things, like I'll add the serial number also if you want it. And also if you want it, I can even add the date on which particular date the customer visited and the visitors visited. Or else, okay, let me don't want this date at all. Okay, let me have only this values only. So you'll say that, okay, these are the serial number one. You will say that Rajesh, on the first day of your opening of your shop, right, in one of the mall, right, consider that there are some 1,000 people visited your shop actually. Out of 1,000, only seven are the people who actually purchase certain goods from your shop actually. So these are the visitors, but how many number of people guys who shopped or who took some goods actually? Seven people. Same thing, consider that on the second day, around something 900 people visited your shop and around 8 people purchased the goods. So we have some statistical information, like on the third day, something like 980 people came and like only 6 people purchased it, right? So like that, guys, what happened, right? You have some 1 year of data. You have some 1 year data, right? So similarly, let me add some more columns, like fourth day. I'm just taking something like 470 are the people who visited it, and 5 people purchased it on the fifth day. Uh, like anything, like I'll say 800 people visited the shop, but 12 customers people purchase something like that. You have some statistical information about the everyday, the last 1 year data you have it actually. Say for example, on the last day, like on the 365th day or 365th day. So what is the last days, guys? 365, right? On the last 360 days, okay, you say that Rajesh, there are around 600 customers visited. Now I need to calculate like how many number of people were actually purchased certain goods in my shop. Is there any way where I can get this information? So this is what something, guys, where you are giving some, this is something you are giving some 1 year statistical information. You have a 1 year statistical information you have, but you need to calculate, you need to predict like, okay, on the last day of my year, right, if so and so number of people visited, how much probably there could be customers who will actually purchase from the shop actually. This is what the problem actually. right? So you got it right. This is something like where you need to predict it, you need to do some kind of a prediction, like how many number of people will actually purchase on that particular day. So based on the entire static information, the 1 year data, you can able to actually build a model, and that model will give you some kind of a solution to you, saying that okay, on the last day, on the 365th day, if this many people are visiting, okay, this much number of customers will definitely try to purchase some goods from your shop actually. So you need to get some kind of a output actually. That's the reason what happened, right? This machine learning models, they came into the picture where they can predict the data actually based on the statistical information about 1 year data. They can predict and they can tell you, right? So now, so how this problem can be solved, or how these models can be built, right? So for that, what they did basically, like they came up with a lot of mathematical computations formulas. They came up with that. Okay, I'll not go very much in detail in the mathematical computation, guys. I will make in a very I'll make in a very low level. I'll try to tell about that, because if we try to enter into more into it, right, it will confuse all of us. So I don't want to really get into that much detail. But what I want to say that I am sure that most of us have worked on the what do you call the graph, right? In the school days, you might have seen that a lot of people take the graphs and they try to plot some values, right? Something like that. You have this, like the x-axis and there's a y-axis, something like that, right? You know that you will give the x-axis value and you will give the y-axis value. You will be able to plot the point, right, in that graph, right? I'm like most of us have gone through this, right, in our early school days, right? You might have even seen that in the graph actually we come up with some of the uh, uh, equations actually, quadratic equation, which we call it is something like a linear regression. I'm not sure how many of you remember it. This is the linear regression actually, right? Now the thing is that this linear regression has a formula. What is that formula? Y is equal to mx plus c, right? So so what do you mean by this regression? Basically, this is a linear regression, okay? And if you want to really find out the value of y, you need to give the input of m, some m, you need to give some input of m, and you need to give the input of c, okay? And then obviously you're giving the next value. So what it will do, that it will try to compute it, and you're going to get the information about what is the y value. This is the basic linear regression formula actually. It works in a linear sequential way, we say actually, right? So Rajesh, whether can we use this linear regression to solve our problem, this problem, whatever you're saying? Guys, here what happened, right? Linear regression is in a linear wave fashion actually. It's a sequential wave fashion, right? But here what happened, our inputs, whatever we are giving, right? Right, it is unpredictable, right? For example, this is not in linear way. So linear way is something like as the value will be keep increasing the x value, y value also will be increasing. But here what happened, we are not seeing that. There is a lot of changes there. First day 1,000 visitors came, okay, only 7 people purchased. Second day 900 people visited, 8 people. You could see that it is not in a linear fashion. It means that if x is growing, y is also not growing, right? So this formula doesn't really fit to our requirement actually. This will not really solve our problem. You need to go with some other formula, or you need to go with some other equation to solve our problem, whatever you're having this problem, right? But consider, okay, consider I don't know any other formula, I know only this linear equation, and I'll try to solve my problem, okay, by seeing this linear regression. You might not get an exact value, but probably we'll get some answer. So with that, we'll be able to better understand, okay, how this model works or how this equation works. So just try to understand our problem by resolving this linear regression itself, okay? But this is not the perfect answer, guys, I'm saying, but this could be a near to answer. But you have some other models, you need to use some other quadratic equation to solve your real problem, whatever you're having real problem. That we'll see it later, right? How to solve the problem based on our requirement, what kind of an equation you have to use it to solve a problem. That is the second thing which you have to learn. But understand that with the help of this graph actually, and with the help of this graph and with the help of this linear regression formula, let us try to apply our problem into this linear regression and try to get an answer for it actually. So now what I said, that if you are having a value of m and c, if somebody gives you the value m and c, and you are giving the value of x, what is the x here in this case? The x is value 600. It means the last 365th day, there are 600 visitors were there. Like how many people actually purchase from your shop? This is what the answer I need actually. So for that, I'm just using this equation actually. Now the thing is that I don't know what is this MNC, okay, and X I know, but what is that MNC? Can you just try to predict that what could be the MNC value? Or
M
what?
is like a slope.
Slope actually, yeah. See something. I don't know. I'm really. I mean, even I don't know what is the regression, linear regression. Let us try to see that. Okay, what kind of a value could be MNC? So for that, let me don't think, guys. Let me use this Chat GPT, and you know that all these days we are using Chat GPT a lot, right? Let me use this Chat GPT just to get the information about what is the value of this MNC is all about. Okay. So now what I will do that I will go to the Chat GPT. Okay, I will ask some help with the Chat GPT. Let's see that how this Chat GPT or Google Gemini behaves or what kind of a value it gives. Let us see that actually. Okay, so let me try to write something. Okay, I'll just say for the following value, considering them as X and Y, I want you to find M and C in linear regression. Okay, so let's see. Okay, you need to provide the data set. Okay, let me don't think. Let me give the data set. See, guys, what I'm giving, right? I'm giving this value. I'll copy this and I'll give this value. See? So,
Upload that picture, sir. Upload this picture to ChatGPT. It answer you automatically.
yeah. So you could see that actually it's analyzing, guys. You're giving some data and it is analyzing it. You will get the information about what could be M and C. See, guys? So M is something this one and C is something. This is the value which I got it actually. Oh, perfect. It means that your ChatGPT has given some information to us. So can we use this formula now to get the our final answer for this actually? Right. We got the value of M. What is it? M? M is that but 0.002 something. I'll copy this value. And what I will do that I will try to save this value here somewhere. So what is M value? This is the M value. Right. And what is the C value? 5.42. I'll take 5.42 value. I'll take this. Right. Now the thing is that, guys, I have the equation now. Y is equal to what is it? Y is equal to mx plus c actually, right? So equals what is m? M is what is it actually? It is nothing but your C15, right? So C15, okay, into what is the x actually? This is what the x is, right? B11, okay, plus what is the C value? C value is C17, right? C17, right? You could see that you got this answer 6.99. Approximately 7 people are the one who will be purchasing from your shop when there are 600 visitors actually. So as I said, right, this is not an exact answer, okay, because this is the linear equation, because linear equation doesn't fit to our problem actually. But I'm just giving a probability of, okay, that okay, that like, okay, this is what the number of users no, will actually purchase. Like 7 is an actual people who will purchase on that 365th day when 600 people are coming or visiting to your shop actually, right? So this is something we call it is a prediction actually. Prediction actually. This is exactly what the machine learning will do for you. This is exactly the machine learning will do for you. We will build some models actually where we know that what kind of an inputs we are giving, and we know also we will also get to know what kind of output you are getting. In the near future, if we are giving certain kind of input, what kind of an output you are going to get? Is there any way to calculate it? Your machine learning or the models will calculate and it will give you the output actually. Right. Now, the machine learning, it's not only for solving this prediction problem. There are two important things, guys, where the machine learning will do. Okay. One is something like solving the problems, actually. Solving the predictions, actually, by giving the statistical data. It'll give you some kind of an output based on the, what kind of a statistical input, what you're giving for a period of time. Say, for example, last 1 year data, if you're giving to this model, it will give an output saying that, okay, this could be a probability or this could be a probable value or probable output you're going to get it actually, right? Apart from that, actually, this machine learning will also do a lot of like other problems also it solves actually. Like, for example, assume that actually in your credit card, right? Some transaction happens actually in your credit card. Now you need to find out what are the credit card transaction happened actually, whether it was a fraud or whether it was an actual transaction which you did it. You need to understand it actually. Then how it happens that your machine learning will solve that problem. It's going to exactly tell you that whether your credit card transaction was actually happened by you or it was some kind of a fraud happened by the system or by some other some anonymous user, he did a transaction, something like that. You need to find a solution for that, or you need to get an answer. Yeah. So machine learning will give those answers for you. Or else, for example, like you got some email, okay, you want to really check without opening an email, you want to check that whether that is a fraud email, or whether that email has some kind of a viruses, so that if you open that email, right, immediately what happens, your system will get infected with the virus. Actually, you need to just understand whether whatever the email which I have received, whether that email is a proper email or not, whether it has some kind of a malicious content in that or not. You need to predict, you need to understand it actually. So then what happened, that your machine learning will solve all those problems. So these are the certain areas where machine learning has become very popular. It gives you the exact solution for you actually, right? And again, what happened, right? Basically what happened, right? It is something like where, uh, how this exactly works. Basically, there is something like a linear equation, guys, actually. I don't know how many people know about this actually. Uh, as I explained about the card fraud, or the email intrusion, right? Like for example, how they predict, because they predict with the help of a linear equation, something like that. You have an x-axis and y-axis, something like this actually. And then basically what happened, right? Like they try to take up each and every problem, and they try to plot it into the graph actually, or they plot into this dimension actually, x and y dimensions. Okay, say for example, they'll take this plot and they will try to put like a, they try to plot that point here. And also like they will, for many other upcoming problems, what they do, they serially they try to plot all these values like this actually. It becomes something like a clustered way of having all the data actually. Okay, it could be in an x-axis, or it could be in a y-axis, or into different dimensions like this actually. So based on these values, what happened, right, they'll be able to do some kind of a prediction actually. Okay, like for example, as I said, right, solving your credit card problems, everything, right? With the help of this kind of inputs, whatever you are getting, whatever the plots you are plotting in a graph, right, with the help of the linear equations, right, this is what we call it as a binary intersection, something like that they say. With the help of this binary intersection, they will be able to exactly tell that whether your credit card transaction was really fraud, or whether it was done by you. You'll go able to get the output from it actually. So this is what we call it as a binary intersection actually. So this is something, people started looking into it. They started solving all this problem with the help of this machine learning models by plotting all kind of a strategic data into the dimensions actually, into the x and y dimensions, and they try to predict what would be the output actually. Okay, this is something in a very high level I'm saying, guys. If you go in deeper level, you will be able to come up with a lot of computation formulas, actual mathematical formulas, where with the help of the mathematical formulas you are actually solving all these problems actually. It is not like that you're just doing all the things in a air. We have all kind of the back end, a lot of mathematical problems are there, solutions are there. So where a lot of mathematical problems will get all these problems will get solved with the help of a mathematical computation problems actually, right? So this is something we call the binary intersection actually, right? Okay, this is all okay. This was very well. This is all good so far. Now the thing is that actually, guys, what happened long back? What happened, right? You might have heard about something about, we call it as a neural network. I'm sure that some of you might have heard about this neural network, right? So what is neural network is all about actually? See, guys, like when it comes to the human, actually, in our human, right, we have a brain. Inside the brain, you know that you have a lot of neurons actually, right? You have a lot of neurons like this. This is one neuron like this, right? And this is other neuron actually, right? And you have a dedicated line, a dedicated wire pathing between one neuron to other neuron, right? This is what we call the synapse actually, synapse. Now, what the human says that actually, that we know that in our human, lot of neurons, millions of neurons are there actually. Not every neuron will work actually. It means that suppose, for example, if you're eating, or if you're driving, or you're listening something, only certain neurons will glow, other neurons will not glow. So based on what a human is doing, only certain neurons will get triggered. And suppose, for example, if you're trying to do some activity, only certain neurons which get glowed, right? So there will be some kind of electrical signals which will go from one neuron to other neuron, and the other neuron will start glowing up, or other neuron will start working on it. So in the entire human brain, right, at at given point of time, not all the neurons will work only certain portion of the neurons will work based on what human is doing certain activity, right? So this is what something we call it as a neural network actually. Okay, and what they thought out, okay, let us try to take this entire thing, whatever the human brain has a neural kind of a system, can we take the same neural system in learning or in injecting the same inputs to our machine actually, so that the machine can able to solve all kind of a problems what the human brain can do. So they try to mimic this neural network. Okay, and then what happened, right? They came up with something known as a neural network mesh actually. Neural network mesh actually. What is a neural network mesh? Right? Say for example, if I go to the Google and if I try to do a neural network, can you see a neural network? And let me go with the images. Okay, right here you could see that, guys. Yeah, let me copy this image. Okay, and let me paste it over here. So guys, now what happened? This is what the neural network is all about. So you could see that there are something like an input layer, and there's something like an output layer, and in between there are a lot of other layers we call as a hidden layer actually. We call a hidden layer actually, right? So consider this as a neuron actually. This as a neuron, and you could see that for each and every neuron there's an interconnectivity. You could see that this neuron has an interconnected to this neuron has interconnected to this neuron has you could see that there's a mesh around all the neurons so that they all are interconnected to each other actually. But they're segregated with something we call as an input layer, and there's a segregated something as an output layer, and in between there are a lot of other layers are there, or other neurons are there, which we call it as a hidden layer actually, right? It could be one hidden layer like this, two hidden layer, three hidden, we don't know, but there will be n number of hidden layers in between the input layer and the output layer. Is it fine, sir? This is something we call as a neural network, we say. Right now the thing is that actually that when here what happened, right, we need to give some kind of an inputs to this neural network. We need to give some kind of an input to neural network. What could be the input we give? Basically guys, whenever we try to give any kind of input, we need to give some kind of inputs like numbers actually. We can't give any kind of other, apart from the numbers we can't give any other value. You have to always give some kind of an input as a number actually, right? So these are all the inputs actually. So here from between here the input layer to the hidden layer, we have something we call it as a weight actually. We call it as a weight, w we call it a weight. Okay, and each and every this, see, basically in case of here in the neural network we call this as a vector actually. Each and every point we call this as a vector actually. Okay, we call this as a vector. It's a point actually. It's a vector actually. Each and every vector will do some kind of a computation. It does some kind of a mathematical calculation or computation. Okay, consider this vector as something, some value. I'm just giving some value, something like a value. A value. Okay, now assume that this is the network, this is your entire neural network. Now assume that I have some problem. Say for example that okay, Rajesh, I have something like where okay, I need to give some kind of input to a system where it need to understand like what is that all about. Say for example, I have an image of something like 50 by 50 megapixel image I have. Okay, so let me take it. Okay, let me. Okay, I have some image like this. So guys, what is this image all about? If you see this image, you will say that Raj, this is a value 9, right? We being a human, we can understand what is this line, what is number 9 actually is all about. But what about the system or the machine? That the machine can understand this value is 9, right? So what we did, right, basically, like we need to give this input as an image to this neural network, and to this neural network, and try to get an output. Okay, this the value what we the input what the user is giving input is 9 exactly, right, by looking into this image. So consider that this is something like a 55 by 50 image megapixel, or else uh, okay, we'll take a small value. Consider that this is a 5 by 5 megapixel image, 5 by 5 image. Okay, so within this 5 by 5 image, actually 5 by 5 means 5 rows and 5 columns like this. Okay, within this 5 rows and 5 columns, we are injecting this image actually. And we are giving these inputs to this neural network actually. To this neural. These are the inputs which I'm giving. So here what I'm doing, guys, when it comes to here, 5 by 5 is how much? Is totally like 25, right? 25 pixel, right? You need to give a 25 inputs, you need to give it actually. So here what happened, right? When it comes to a diagram, you are giving a 25 inputs like this. 25 inputs like this. Now what happened, right? As soon as you give the 25 inputs, right? What happened, right? Here what happened? The each and every vertex actual vector, what happened? It takes the 25 pixel value. It in the back end, it does some kind of a mathematical computation it get actually. And finally, what happened? You're going to get an output here. So the output value could be between 0 to 9, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9, right? Like that. Right now the what has happened means actually like you know that the value is 9 because as a human we understood, okay, this value is 9. Okay, consider that actually that it has did some computation and finally it has arrived to the value 1, saying that okay, what does the image look like? It looks like a 1 actually. It looks like a 1. This image looks like a 1. But do you think that this image is 1? No, right? This image is 9. Or it means that there is a wrong. It means that the system has not calculated properly. It has not computed it properly. So now what happened? Okay, now the system understood, okay, the output value what you got is 1 actually, even in the output layer. But actually the answer is not 1 actually. It is wrong answer. The actual value is 9. Right. So what happened right here? What the system will do that it will do some kind of a back propagation. It says, okay, no man, this is not 1 actually, it is actually 9 value. It sends back the back propagation it does. And again, what happened here? What happened? The weight value will get increased. The W value will get increased. Okay. So that what happened, right? It will again do some kind of a mathematical computation, right? And then what is happening that again what happened, right? It does some mathematical computation. Again what happened? The value will go from the hidden layer, and finally what happened? The computation happened. Finally it will arrive to the value saying, okay, the image what you're showing is a value 9 actually. Yeah, now you got something known as a 9 value. So now what are the image, the input you are given, does it match the value of output of 9? Saying, okay, what are the image user is given? Yeah, now I got the value 9. So this is something which we call it as a deep learning. Deep neural learning, or we call it deep neural network. Right? So all these things, guys, whatever we are doing this computation and all, whatever the internet is happening, right? This mathematical computation, what is happening? This is what we call it as a in a term we call it training actually. We call this as training actually. So in our machine learning, ML ops, right? People who are learning ML ops, they know about this, what this is training is all about actually. Right? We are used this training term everything in our CI/CD pipeline. Whenever we are building a CI/CD pipeline and whenever you are using this ML ops, actually, we might have come across with something known as a trainings actually. Right? A lot of time we'll be learning. So what is this training is all about? What is ML ops? Like we'll have a separate session on that. I'm very much interested to take this ML ops also in this group. Let us also take it now, not now immediately. After covering 2-3 sessions, sorry, 2-3 tools, I will cover this ML ops all about. But we will use this ML ops a lot in our CI/CD pipeline actually. And whatever we are doing this mathematical computation, everything in the backend, which we call it as a training actually. Am I clear, sir? Right now, so Rajesh, you are having so many hidden layers actually. You are having 1 hidden layer, 2 hidden layer, 3 hidden layers. How many hidden layers will be there in the back end? We don't know, guys. There would be 1, there could be 2, there could be 1,000, there could be million hidden layers. We don't know actually. And they each and every hidden layer, they work in a particular different dimension actually. Right? See, as a human being, we know that we are surrounded with only 3 dimension, right? Like for example, you might have you more know that like Rajesh, we have an x-axis, right? We have a y-axis, we have an x-axis, right? And we have a z-axis actually. So we are in a 3-dimensional thing. It means that a human can understand max up to 3 dimensions, but we cannot really plot the 3 dimension in the paper actually. We can only plot 2 dimension only. But assume that you are in a space actually, you can plot the 3rd dimension also, which is about z-axis actually. So you can able to point any kind of an object, okay, in a space. Okay, in a space you can able to point any object actually in a space, okay, because the space considered as a 3-dimensional actually. So this is the maximum through the 3 dimension. It can able to understand the coordinate about this point, where exactly this point comes in space. You'll be able to easily calculate based on the x and value and the based on the z value. You can easily able to plot know where exactly this point is all about. It means that you can able to calculate the distance from this point from the x-axis where the value is y-axis and from the z-axis, right? You'll be able to plot this. You can able to get exactly get the coordinates actually. But in case of a neural network, in case of this one actually, guys, this works on a multiple dimensions actually. This not only like 3 dimension, they work in 4 dimension, 5 dimension, 100 dimension, 1000 dimension, 10,000 dimension, 13,000 dimensions. There are a lot of dimensions are there. Now, why I'm talking about all this dimension? Because your chat GPT, your Gemini or Perplexity, they works on thousands of multiple dimensions. It's not with one dimension, they work with a thousand of them. It means that whatever they are working internally, they are having a lot of hidden layers, which are more than 10,000 hidden layers are there in the back. You could see that so much computation is doing actually at the back end, you to get an output actually. Right? It's not only with the 2 or 3 dimension, not only with giving only x and y and z value. You need to provide a lot of dimensions actually. So more than 10,000 dimensions are given feed. It has been provided to ChatGPT. ChatGPT in turn uses this neural network actually. ChatGPT in turn uses this neural network, which we call the deep neural network or deep neural network learning. This is what happened. Your LLM models all are built based on this neural network actually. Sir, is it fine? Are you understanding, guys? Sounds interesting for you all?
Yes.
So, Rajesh, I understood what you're saying, but is it really it is required for us to understand? As in, not really, guys. I'm just giving a very high level picture for you. Okay, we are not going in depth in detail about all these things, right? So now, what we said that Rajesh, if they this hidden layers, if there are more than 3 hidden layers, there are more than greater than 3 layers are hidden layers. This is what we call it as a deep neural network. Okay, and obviously your chat GPT, your any kind of an AI tool which is coming into the market today, they have more than 3 hidden layers. They all are purely working on this deep neural network. And as I said, right, they work in a different dimension. There are 10,000, 12,000, 15,000. So many dimensions are there where they do all those mathematical computation in the different dimensions, and finally you will get an output actually. You'll get an output. This is how they build the systems actually. And this is all about what we call they are building these models. This model means something like they are building this hidden layers. They are building this whole neural network to get an output actually. Right? And you might ask, Rajesh, what is this all about? These plots, these are vectors, as I said, guys, and you need to give some kind of input. Those inputs are obviously those are the numbers only, right? You can't give any kind of other value. You can't give any kind of a text. You can't give any kind of a special characters. You have to give with the numbers only, because the whole mathematical problem, everything is nothing but it's playing with the numbers only actually. Right? So we give the numbers. What is the number max we give? We give the 0 to 9 actually. So we represent these numbers with some characters. Say, for example, you want to give some inputs as a text, but you cannot directly give the input as a text actually. Those text are mapped into some number actually. And when you give the number, finally what happens, some kind of a back end kind of a computation happen, something called as a training happens, and finally you get that output. And that output again you will be reconverting into some text, because a human have to get finally as a text actually. Right? So this is what, guys, this neural network is the one which actually played a very vital role, you to bring you to get something as a translator. So how Google came. See, so the Google, right, the Google company long back, like 15 years back, right, they started working on this deep learning model actually. They work on the deep neural network models. And what they saw that actually let us try to come up with something known as a transformers. Transformers. Transformers, right? So transformer altogether, it's a very big project within the Google actually. No, they hired some very great brains, and what they said, okay, you come up with this transform model. So they had a big team, guys, in Google, inside of Google, where they are purely working on the transformers, right? So this transformer is basically what they do, right? Basically they try to predict the next output, what kind of an output you're going to get it. Like, for example, if I want to tell you, for example, your whole Google search works as a transform only. Say, for example, if I go to the Google like this, see here, if I go to the Google page, now see that, guys, I'm just typing something. What are? Now you could see that, guys, it is giving so many inputs to you. It is giving, okay, what are EI ethics, what are neural network, what are prime numbers, what you're doing in Hindi, what are numbers. See, it is exactly predicting. We don't know what the user might give, but you could see that it is actually predicting actually. And it is giving some kind of an output to you so that the user can know that, so that the user can make use of it. This is something we call as transformers actually. So this is a very basic essence. Like when you give certain kind of a search to an engine, actually, what happened? It will predict it and it will give you certain kinds of a more output to you, so that the user can choose what he requires actually. So it's all depend upon what kind of input you're giving, how the system takes that input, and what kind of an output it provides you by predicting certain outputs for you. This is all about this transformers actually. So this was a very fantastic project which the Google was working on in the backend, and they came up with something like a transformers actually. And you could see that in your when you're doing everything in a Google actually, you could see that Google is actually printing and giving actually. This is something like Google is trying to do some kind of an auto completion, so that what a user needs to do, it gives you some kind of a search for you and it gives it actually. So how this transformers works actually? So this transformer works completely with this neural network, guys. Whatever I thought about whatever I told about these neural networks, right? This all transformer uses this internally all this neural network actually, right? And there's a very fantastic thing how they do it actually, because what this transformer do, that transformer will it needs an initial input as some string actually. You need to give some kind of input as an initial string. As soon as you give certain string as an input actually, what this transformer do, that this transformer will predict what could be the next what could be next word where user might be expecting. It will exactly predict it and it will give you the value like that. So initially, as an input, you need to give certain inputs, right, as a text input. So this transform will think about that what could be the user wants, what could the user might be giving some other inputs, right? It transforms it and it gives you the, it will visualize, it will give the exact output to you. This is something where this Google company, they build this transformer systems very well, and like they were able to build it. And as I said, how this transformer build, guys, they transformer build based on this neural network actually, right? Based on this neural network. And this neural networks, as I said, right, they works on a multiple dimension, like more than 10,000 dimensions or thousands of dimension they work actually. And with the help of that dimension plot value, what you plot in a dimension, they will be able to exactly predict what exactly the next output could be, right? Based on this model actually. Like for example, if you take Rajesh, if you take in our x and y dimension actually, say for example, you have this, consider this as a multiple dimension, even though like we cannot plot multiple dimension here, because we are working on a two dimension, right? Like this is what the x and y dimension what we have it actually. Like for example, a user to the transformer, he is giving some kind of an input. Like for example, he is giving some kind of a vertex value, we call the vertex value. So this vertex value is something like he is giving some inputs. Say for example, he is giving some inputs as I'll consider something like a Hyderabad. Okay. And correspondingly, there is one more vertex value will be there, or the plot will be there. This is something value. This is having a value something known as a biryani, something like this, right? Right. So now, so we have one more vertex value, which is something known as a one more value. I'll take something known as a. I'll take Bangalore itself, my hometown, Bangalore. Right. This is the some value, and you need to predict actually what could be the other value, right? So what they did basically, right? They want to just calculate the distance between these two vertex point actually, right? And we know that in mathematical, if you are giving a 2 point, right, you can able to easily find out the distance actually, right? For example, if you take this from this point and you travel to here to this point actually, you will be able to exactly get the information about what is the different distance between two different points actually, right? Similarly, what happened, right? They calculated this distance, guys, and they arrived with one of the plot or point which they termed it as a biryani actually, right? So this is something like where they able to easily calculate it what could be the next predicted value, something like that. Similarly, if it is a Bangalore, and if you exactly travel the same distance, whatever these two plots have the distance, right? If you try to follow, or if you try to calculate the same distance what it is there, right, then you will get you'll get a plot of, or you'll get a vertex value where that value could be something like a, it could be a idli, or it could be a bisivele bath. This is the Indian, it is the South Indian dishes I'm sorry, talking about, right? So this is something where what happened, right? If we are giving some kind of an inputs, actually, this neural network model, what it does that it can exactly predict like what could be the next possible value it could be, right? So based on this value, what happened? They build this system actually. Similarly, what happened, right? If you are able to build, or if you're able to plot some value, something like a man, something like a man, right? Man. And what happened, right? And if you calculate the same distance from this plot to this plot, actually, if you try to calculate, or if you try to use the same distance value, you will hit with the vertex value, which we call, the value would be something like a woman, actually, something like this. Okay. Similarly, what happened, right? If you're able to have one more plot of value, which we call it as something like a king, and if we try to calculate the same distance, what is this distance which is between these two plots? If you try to take the same distance, and if you calculate, and if you arrive with the other plot, right, in the other dimension, this is the different dimension. This is in one dimension, this is in one dimension, this value is one dimension, this is another dimension. And if you calculate the distance between that, you're going to get the value something known as a queen, actually. So what happened right here, guys, with this actually, with this prediction value, with this model, what happened? They're going to they're able to easily build a system where it can predict the next possible value, right? So, and what they did, like most of the time, what they did, right? The most closer value, or the most closer words, or whatever they did, right? Whatever they found, right? Say, for example, here, that Rajesh, man and king are more or less, they fall under the same. So what they did, right? They formed something together, all these two words, something together in a kind of a cluster they formed, actually. They, what happened, right? They made into in one some kind of a cluster, actually, because the most similar synonymous names, actually, they made into something like a cluster, actually. So this solves a lot of the problems, actually. It solves a lot of other problems, actually. So this is what this technique, whatever they have implemented, right? The Google guys, right? They build everything in this transformers, actually. So they build this system so that actually it can predict the next possible value. What could be the next possible value? If you give some kind of an input, what would be the next possible output? So this transformer able to solve all those problems. This is how the things started turning up very well when the when Google engineers, right, when the people they started building these transformers, actually. And Google, what they did, guys, Google came up with, they released one of the white paper, actually, on this transformer. If you try to Google it out, like, for example, they gave, and the white paper, or the paperwork, what they published was like, the name was something like attention is all you need, actually. This is something where they came up with this white paper. If you just Google it out, Google white paper on attention all you need, a transformer. This is a white paper, guys, which they, attention is all you need, actually. Okay, if you go through this white paper, you will be able to easily get to know about all these things, actually. Okay, so now why they built this attention you all need, why they came up with this something. So this is something, guys, which they want to build a system which they call an NLP, natural language processing. I'm sure some of you might have heard about this, right? Natural language processing. This is something like where what happened, that they want to build a system where what happened, your system can understand the human languages. Like, for example, we know that we all of us speak each other, right? Because English is a very common language. So if I speak with IO, right, in English, he'll be able to understand, because we both of us understands the language. Similarly, I want to make my system or my machine to understand the language. How the machine can enable to understand the language. This is what happened, right? What the Google did, right? They build all these transformers, actually, so that with the help of the transformer, your system or your machine will be able to understand the natural processing language. Even, guys, whatever this program language came, right? C, C++, or else Java program, or else .NET, or else even like Python. They build all these languages based on the English language only. Have you seen anyone building a language by using some South African language or using some other Indian based language? Have you seen? No, right? All these engineers who build these languages, they are more or less, you could see that they are all are built in English language only, because they want to make the language to be a little bit understood by the human also. Say for example, if you take Python language or the Python program, if you see the entire Python program, right, you'll be able to easily understand actually like what exactly the program is all about. No doubt you'll not be able to completely understand it, because there are so many other things are there, like you might see some kind of a condition, you might see some algorithms implemented in a program. You might not able to understand completely, but what you are understanding, okay, Rajesh, we are able to something understand where there is some common language. English is used for you to give an input as a part of giving as part of writing a program, right? You are giving that input to the system, right? Where that system will take an input of that entire program. It does some processing at the back end, right, which is about compiling code, no, and creating environment, run that program, and finally you're getting an output actually, and that output also more or less it's like an English only, the output you're going to get, right? So it means that when we are building a system, we already introduce some language known as some language as an English language, to make sure that whatever the input we give as a program, we are going to get an output also, and it will be something more or less like a readable language. A human can understand what is the input and what is an output, something like that, right? But does the system understand the entire natural language, whatever we are giving? No, right? Because ultimately what happened, your system doesn't know all those natural language. It can only understand the mathematical computation. It only does some kind of a mathematical solving problem, right? Natural language, it doesn't understand, right? Like for example, how we both of us speak in a natural language like English, right? The system doesn't understand that. Some part of the language it understand, not everything, guys, right? So now what happened, there's a thrive that Google want to come up with some kind of a system where it can purely understand the entire language, the whole language it can understand it. That's how what happened, right? This project was came to the picture, okay, and they build something they call it as a NLP. They were trying to build natural language processing, everything, so that they can build up a system where they'll be able to make a machine to understand the way the human can understand the language, right? Similarly, same way, approximately, I could say in today's time, right? The Google Translator, approximately, not 19, almost 100%, it can able to understand whatever the human is speaking with you. If a human gives some inputs, right, your Google Translate will understand the whole. It will take the whole context of your text, what you give input, and it will translate to the other language. Actually, it is approximately 100%. It will try to solve it. Maybe like 5-10 years back when this translators came to the picture, maybe you might not get an accurate answer, okay, because the still it was very new, right? They were building these transformers. But now in today's time, like in 2025, guys, if you go to the Google and if you install the Google Translator, and if you give English word, some text you give it actually, or you can even give paragraph also. You could see that if you want to convert the same paragraph essence to the French or to the Japanese, right, it will exactly convert it actually. It will convert it, right, based on the context or based on all the inputs what to give. It exactly give the complete meaning of whatever a user is giving, so that the opposite person, if he goes through it, he will understand, okay, what the user is requesting. Suppose when I'm in Japan, actually, I want, if I go to the shop inside, right, I want to talk something to them, but I don't know the language. So I take a Google Translator. I will just try to speak in a textual format in my language. I'll just say that, okay, I need this tomato. Could you please tell me what is the price of it? Actually, like that, if I give the input, right, the Google Translator will exactly convert to the Japanese language, and I can show it actually. It can either it will show in a text format, conversion format, or it can even convert to the speech format also. And you could see that the opposite person, a Japanese person who sees it, right, he'll be able to easily understand what I'm trying to converse with him. What I'm doing conversion, he'll be able to easily understand, right? So such kind of things have been evolved now, where and all this started with implementing this transformers actually. Correct, guys? So now, when they came up with this white paper, attention is all you need actually. This is what things started turning up actually. So, how they did initially, like for example, assume that I have some word, okay, some sentence I have, something like, so for example, I have a pen. So, guys, suppose I want to convert in my mother language, So my mother language is Hindi actually. I, like when I want to convert it, I may, like I means may in Hindi. We say have means hey, a means a means okay, and pen is something like kalam. Kalam is something like pen. We say so. I means may, have means hey, A means a, pen means column. Okay. So if you try to convert exactly word by word, right? You'll not be able to get the exact consider. You'll not be able to get the exact context what you need it. This is an English language, fine, right? I have a pen. There's a meaning for that. It makes sense. But if you're converting this whole thing into some other language in a sequential manner only, taking each and every word, converting it to what it is actually, you might not get the exact context of what you are talking about actually. So this is something like which is very nonsense, right? It means that if you're just trying to convert line word by word, and if you're translating word by word, right, you will not get the exact context actually. So this was something which was not good. It was not a good way. This was something earlier when the transformers were built by Google, right? They used to do line by line, or they used to do word by word, and they used to sequentially do the transfer. But you doesn't exactly get the contextual information about what we are talking about. We will not get a complete picture about it, right? Or else, for example, assume that there's one more example. Suppose, for example, I have one more sentence. Something like if I say dog and cat were fighting, and car ran over dog, and it got hurt. Right. If you read this sentence, guys, as a human, will understand. Okay, dog and cat were fighting, and the car came in and it ran over the dog, and the dog got hit actually, and it got hurt actually. Human, as a human being, we are understanding what it is all about. It is something like you are representing to the dog itself, right? Because dog got hurt, right. Now, if you're giving the same input to the transformer Google, so what the Google transform will do, it will try to convert each and every word, okay, into the language what we need it actually, and it might not really understand, okay, what is it is all about, what is it context is all about. So this is what some kind of a challenges where initially these Google engines are facing actually. Now what happened, slowly what they do, right, they found out, okay, how we can build more robust way. Though they started predicting, okay, whenever I'm giving an input actually, what could be the next output, the exact word output what we're going to get, that is what they started building on the system. And slowly what happened, right? By going to the entire context of this whole sentence, right? They're able to build a transform so that it will naturally convert the whole thing into a language, okay, with the complete essence. Because that you need to give certain inputs to the transformer, it will predict what kind of an output you're going to get it. It predicts the next most matchable value, what it is actually. Based on that transformer technique, what happened, they're able to easily understand. This is what the Google Translator is actually. Am I clear, sir? So now what happened, right? This entire thing, whatever I'm talking about, this is what exactly your ChatGPT is doing, guys. You take anything like ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or any AI tool, right? It's based on that. What is the next? What are the input you're giving, right? The ChatGPT or Gemini, right? It will be able to exactly predict what could be the next value or what could be the next word actually. So it can easily, intelligently, it can it will be able to easily understand it actually. Now, how it can easily understand it, because of all these things, whatever you are plotting, right? Whatever the values which you are plotting in a dimension, right? What happened? It will be exactly able to predict what could be the next field value, or what could be the next word, which probably it could be the value. That is how this transformer will predict it, and it will try to use that next predictable value, right? Right? Correct, guys? Right, this is all about the natural NLP. And to make use of this actual NLP, NLP means to predict the next value. What this chat GPT, Gemini and Perplexity will do, in the back end they will use something known as a GPU, right? GPU, right? GPU hardware or GPU processor units, they use it a lot, right? The more and more you are giving an input, the more and more GPUs are used actually. This is how what happened, right? Your Nvidia company is making a lot of money today, because you know that the entire in the back end, a lot of GPUs are used. Again, it is based on the model. If you're having a simple model, and you're giving inputs to a simple model uses less GPUs, and appropriately give the output to you. If you are working on some complex models, and if you're giving inputs to a complex model, it uses more and more GPU actually. And you're going to get an exact accurate output you're going to get it actually. So based on the model, what these developers have built it, okay, machine learning models. Okay, you know that you have a chat GPT 3, chat GPT 3.5, chat GPT 4, chat GPT 5, right? Because it depends upon these GPTs actually, right? Depend upon the version. If you're using higher version, you know that in the back end, right, order, a lot of GPUs are used actually, and it will give an accurate output to you, right? And for that, you to get right, you need to take you need to either go with some licensing, right? You need to go with either with the pro version or something where you need to pay some monthly charge of something 1,500 or 2,000 rupees. You have to pay it actually. If you go with the monthly one, what happened, right? If you want to make use of in your day-to-day activity, it will exactly give the output the way you required actually, or right. If you are giving with the open version or the free version, if you're going right, you might get a little bit value, not but not into accurate value. But what are the output you're getting? Yeah, it's like a calm chalao. It's something like, okay, I can work on it based on the output what I'm giving it. I can proceed with my work, right? But if you tomorrow, if you are working with no, if you want to solve some complex problem, right, guys, you need to go with some kind of a pro edition or something like a higher edition. You have to go so that you can able to solve any kind of a complex problem by using the some complex models. Okay, by using some complex models, and then like in back end, what happened? A lot of GPUs are used actually. So now what happened, right? You know that ChatGPT, there are free versions of the free version which all we are of us use it, but there are paid versions are there. Why we have paid version? Because the paid version they use lot of complex models in the back end. Okay, ChatGPT 5 and all they use some complex models actually. That complex model to run it, it needs a lot of GPUs actually. GPU hardware units it needs, like, and then like those GPUs are the one which consumes the amount it consumes your money actually. That's the reason you have to go with the paid one, and you will get all kind of a solution for all your complex problem. You will get the solutions actually, right? Am I clear, sir? And sir, this entire chat GPT everything in the back end, it uses all this NLP, natural language processing. It uses actually, it can predict the next possible, what is the next possible word actually. Okay, it can predict it. That's how these models are built actually. The models are built, and there are a lot of models are there. Not one or two, hundreds of models are there. Based on your requirement, you use that certain models actually in the backend actually. Right? Correct? Okay, if you go here, if you go to the Google and if you just say, uh, there is one visualizer is there actually. What is it actually? Online visualizer for transformers, transformers with attention. Like attention, I'll just say GPT. Yeah, this is what I think. LLM visualizers. Yeah, this is what, guys. GP2 small, GP2X, GPT-3, right? See, GPT-3. How much in the backend, how much hidden layers it is getting called, see, right? This is what all about it actually. And right, and if you go here, if you go to this visualizer, yeah, this is what the visualizer, guys. You could see that actually that you're giving an example of data visualizer empower user to create what, right? User to create what, right? I'm using this temperature actually. If you generate it actually, what is happening is that actually, right, you'll be able to exactly predict what would be the next one. You could see that data vision empower user to visualize actually. You could see that it has found so many values actually, words actually, find, understand, build better. But the most proximity value what it was found was a visualize actually. That's what it gives the input as here as a visualize actually. It gives, and also there is some interesting thing which is the temperature actually. If you are decreasing less the value temperature, what happened, right? It will give the exact accurate value as an output it gives. If you gives more temperature value, if you're giving more than that, it might give some common word what is there, like C is there, something like that actually. Okay, so whatever the inputs you are giving, what the outputs you are getting, guys, this output or input, this is what we call the tokens actually. Can you see here? These are the tokens actually. Okay, we can say token, or you can give these are the token actually, right? Or you can call the vertex or token are one of the same actually. So whatever we give is a vertex right here, the vertex value, what we give the value, intern value, this we call the vertex actually. We can even call the token actually. Okay, in LLM words we call the token actually. Okay, So based on the temperature setting, actually, you will see that actually that it changes the value actually. It's create, visualize, something like it. Based on the probability it checks. But if you are decreasing this temperature value, it will give the exact value actually. Correct, guys? So this is something where, this is something like a system where they build it actually, where the Google has built it actually, and that's how it has been used. And today's world time, right? Many companies they have adopted this thing and they started building a system actually. Okay, this is all about fine. Everything, Rajesh. Somewhat, I got some big picture. Okay, I didn't want to really go in detail about this. Okay, that's correct, guys. We need not to really go in detail about this because it'll. It's not like confusing. It is something like where it will open a door to many areas actually, which we can learn in the future actually. Right, but as of now, no, we don't need this much actually. Okay, is it fine, guys? Still here, guys? Is it fine?
Yes, 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 sir.
What do you feel till now? Are you okay? Did you understood something, Rajesh? Something I understood at the back end. I don't know, but I need to know like how I can use this chat GPT or something. And that is what I need, man. I don't want to really understand all these things. Yes, right. That's true only. We need not to really understand all these things in a deeper way. In near future, yes, of course, we will go with the deeper way. What is it actually? Right. But yeah, something like that. Okay. Now I got some picture. Now the thing is that, guys, what we need to understand or what we need to learn is that how I can use this chat GPT in my day-to-day activity. That is what the simple thing which I want to learn now. You told about so many visualization, this, that, everything. Yeah, some dimension where in the back end, like this ChatGPT and all will work on this completely deep neural network. Yeah, I understood. There are hidden layers are there. So many hidden layers are there where they work on some different dimension, some 10,000, 15 dimension they work on it. Okay, so what at the end, what exactly this ChatGPT and all they do, right? As I said, they exactly predict the next word value, next possible word, what could be next post. Based on that itself, what happened, this chat GPT and all will work actually, right? And it depends upon the input what a user gives actually. Input means basically we will give some kind of inputs, okay, saying that okay, this is what it is. Let me know what kind of an output you can give. This is what something like we want to talk to this AI tool. We want to talk this AI tool means you have to give some inputs to it actually, right? Now, suppose assume that I'm a science student. I'm a science student. I'm an eighth class science student. Assume that I'm eighth class student. I want to understand what is this inertia is all about. There is something known as a constant inertia, right? So what is this inertia? So I'll go to the chat GPT, and what I will do here, I will just say what is inertia. You could see that as it is giving some inputs. Inertia is a fundamental concept in physics. It refers to a natural tendency. Why inertia happens. Okay, we are getting some inputs, which is good actually, which somewhat okay. We can understand in a very well way, because even he has talked something about inertia is something like which comes under the Newton's first law of motion also. Inertia, right? It comes, right. So we'll be able to easily understand all these things. It's good. But to make your chat GPT give more and more information to you, okay, whatever the inputs you are given, this what is inertia is not sufficient. This is not the exact thing. This is something, if you're given the same thing to the Google would have given the same value output actually. But how I can use my chat GPT effectively to give me the exact result, what I needed. This is something we call the prompt engineering. This is something you have to give a valid inputs to this chat GPT or valid inputs to this AI tool so that it gives an exact output what you required with the restriction, right? With restriction, I would say. Now, can I give some other way of giving the same inputs? Okay, what is inertia? So we know that, Rajesh, I am okay. So you have to tell to the chat GPT that you are a physics expert actually. One second, guys. 1 second. I'm getting a call. 1 second. Oh, sorry, guys. I got a call. So guys, so now giving an input actually like this actually, is there a better way of to give an input, okay, to this chat GPT and let us see like, what it gives an output. So you said that you are telling to the chat GPT that as you're telling to chat GPT that as you are physics expert. Okay, I mean you need to make sure the spelling correct are right, guys, because that chat GPT
SI,
expert.
SICS.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, XS. Okay, tell me what is inertia. Okay, I am a class 8 student. See here, like this, you have to give input. Okay, ensure you give me simple examples. Right now, I'll give this as an input. Let's see how this ChatGPT behaves. See, you could see that it says that class 8 friendly way with easy example. See, you could see that you're sitting in a bus, and when a bus suddenly starts, you're pushed backward. See, like this is something like where, okay, a class 8 student can understand actually. Right. So this is something what happened, guys. This is something which we are very much interested to learn. This is what we call it as a prompt engineering. Yes, we need to learn about the prompt engineering. It means that you need to exactly give the context of what is all about. So when we are talking to the chat GPT, first you need to give the detail about the persona. Persona means as what you are discussing. You could say that as you are a physics expert, yeah, you are giving this persona. Okay, you are a physics expert. As I'm a cloud engineer, as I'm a senior DevOps engineer, as I'm a senior DevOps architect, I need this one. Could you please give me like this? We need to provide a proper prompt to the chat GPT or to any kind of AI tool so that it will give you the exact like you will get it will give you the exact solution to you. Right. So this is something we call it as a prompting techniques actually. What is it? Prompting techniques. Right. So what are the basic rules actually for basic rules for effective prompting? So there are multiple techniques are there, guys. What we are discussing is the first level of technique. There are another two to three techniques are there where we will see that later, like what are the other two techniques or other three techniques which are there. Today we are only learning about the prompting techniques. Tomorrow assume that we can even give a visualize technique also, right? You can give an entire visualization. Like for example, if you give an input to the chat GPT, like if you give this prompt, if you give the entire visualization of your portal.azure.com like this, like, so you say that, okay, I'm having this azure.portal.com. I want to create an ad gateway or I want to create some kind of a VPN. I want to create it. Can you tell me like how exactly the VPN can be created through this portal.azure.com? Can you, if I give a console.aws, I log into the console of AWS, and if I give a complete visualization to the ChatGPT or to these models, can you tell me how I can create a VPC? You could see, guys, this model will exactly show you in a visual way of like how to go and click on this, how to go do this, how to give the value of inputs, everything, how to connect it, how to do the create a VPC, how to create a subnet, how to you can do a VPC pairing, all those things visualization only, visually it will do everything, guys. Now this is a second technique. Oh my god, it means that visualization also it does automatically everything as a perfect way. Right now, first what we are doing is initially what we're doing, we're just giving a prompt actually. We're just speaking with an English textual to the chat GPT or to the CI tool, say that okay, this is what the input, what the output. Later tomorrow you can exactly give the whole visualization to the chat GPT or to any of these tools. It will show you how you have to get the solution out of it actually. And the third model is more peculiar. If you give any kind of a complex problem in the three-dimensional value, in the three dimension, it will give the complete solution. It will also predict like what could do the more improvement activity, what you can do in the future. That also it will show actually. This is something which is very much mind blowing, guys. Actually, this is what people they are doing it like many of the companies, right? OpenAI company, they are working on, Google is, heavily investing a lot of money. Facebook is heavily investing all these monies. Why? Because that they are building all these models actually. And there are hundred thousands of models are getting built every day. And like these models will solve all kind of problems, the real-time problems, whatever you have, right? It'll solve quickly, it'll try to solve the problem. This is what happened, right? Now you understand the essence of that. Why I need to learn AI? Now it has become mandatory now. Without this, you can't live. You can't still be in an old legacy of doing the work actually, right? So now come back here. What are the basic prompts, effective prompts? Okay. Whenever you're prompting actually, guys, you need to add a persona. Persona means role. Whom you're talking about, what kind of role you're doing it. That's what you have to give it. You need to define the clear objective of what is required, or you need to give a clear context of what is needed, or you can call it a you have to give a clear objective to the chat about to the AI tool that what you need it actually, right? These are certain things which you need to give at the very basic level actually. Like for example, if I go to the chat GPT again, and I'll go to the new chat. Now assume that actually, like, I don't know anything about the Linux terminal. Linux terminal is a bash terminal, right? We know that after installing Linux, we get a bash terminal. Now I want to understand that how this bash terminal works actually. How this bash terminal works. Okay. Suppose assume that this ChatGPT itself is acting like a bash terminal. This itself is acting like a shell. Now I want to see that if I give any kind of an input to the shell, what kind of output I'm going to get, and what ChatGPT is exactly explaining about that output. Everything I want to see it actually. So you have to give certain prompts where you're making the ChatGPT to run or to work as a Linux terminal. Yes. Like you are telling to the ChatGPT that you act as a Linux terminal on Ubuntu. Okay. I want you to tell me, what the command does. Right? As I am learning, what is it? Learning, right? Learning Linux to become effective at work. Something like that, you're giving this input. Right? Okay. Also, give me some additional examples. Right? Let's see, guys, what kind of an output you're going to get. Sure, I can act like a Linux terminal explainer. You will type any Linux command and tell you. See here, he's given example. What does the command does, how it works. For example, if he's giving LSFNL, what the LSFNL will do it, what each and every output of the LSFNL will do it. See, you are going to get many more examples. Like now you can enter any kind of Linux command. I will explain you in the same style. See. So this is not mind-blowing, guys. Oh my God, this is something like mind-blowing. Now you'll say that, Rajesh, I want to understand what the sudo apt update will do. See, perfect. The sudo apt update, what this output will do, he's actually explaining it actually. That sudo apt update, it needs to modify the system files under this and requires a sudo administration permission. This is what it happens at. See, this is what, when you're running the sudo apt command, this is the output you're going to get. And additional examples, he's saying that, okay, you can update and list the package with the help of the sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade command. You can update the list of repositories by, see, it is giving a multiple options to you actually, so that you'll be able to easily understand. Okay. Now, apart from this, Rajesh, is there anything? Okay. Suppose, for example, I want to just see like one more example. I want to see that what is a sudo systemctl daemon, DAEMON, a reload will do actually. Let's see what sudo systemctl daemon will do. Yeah. See here. So what systemctl will do it actually? This is a systemctl. There is a command is there actually. It's an internal service actually. It reloads the configuration without restarting the system. That's what the daemon reload will do. And you could see that actually that when you're executing this, right, he's just taking an example of some service by name my app service is there. Now you could see that when you're trying to reload it, this new service will get called actually, and then like it does it. What sudo does? See, you will get plenty of information, guys. With this, what happened, right? You will be able to easily able to understand, right? It means that you're interacting with the ChatGPT, you're making the ChatGPT work as a Linux terminal, and you're running the command, and the command will give you the what exactly the output you're going to get it actually, and with elaborate information you're going to get it actually. Right? So same thing, if I just say sudo systemctl reload, if I'm using some service name by name Apache 2, see what it does, everything it will give you guys. See, it'll give you all the configuration files, everything, right? Now you might ask Rajesh, from where it is actually taking all these things actually? How ChatGPT is actually working? So guys, ChatGPT is working with the models, fine. What we have did know, we have given for the ChatGPT guys, we have given all the inputs of the data actually. Like for example, from all the GitHub account, whatever the GitHub data are there, no, all the GitHub data are fed to this ChatGPT models. Okay, whatever the data which is available in internet, everything, all the data, everything we have been injected to this ChatGPT model. Now, what is happening that based on the textual what you're giving, right, it will try to search it, and it will give you all the values, whatever the appropriate things are there, it will give it actually. So that's what, when you try to give it, it will try to do the next predictive value, what the user want to do it actually. Based on that only, it will giving you the output actually. See here, you might ask Raj, from where and all this and all are giving. Guys, these are all the data which have been already fed to the ChatGPT. All your GitHub account, all data, what is available in the internet today, all the details, gallons of data, gallons, millions and gallons of data are given to the ChatGPT. They will streamline the entire thing, and they will give an appropriate output to you. Correct, guys? Right. So here, that's out. And if you go to the like google.gemini.com, right? I mean, this is also one of the tool. Like we know that actually. What happened? Gemini.google.com, sorry. Right. Now, Rajesh, shall I give the same input, Rajesh, like whatever you are giving, right, here in the chat GPT, right? Here. More or less all this works the same way, guys, actually. Like if you take it this, if you give this prompt, copy this prompt completely, and if you go to the Google prompt, all right, here, you could see the guys, it uses this flash actually, right? It uses the flash actually. You could see the 2.5 flash it uses actually, right? And Gemini uses this flash actually. And I could say that there are pro are there, which is you can even upgrade to the Google AI Pro, which is the most advanced one. But right now I'm using the 2.5, which is a very basic model which I'm using actually. Here also you can give the input actually, same input you can give it, and let's see that how we are going to get the output. See what command does what everything. Now you could say I'm ready when you're ready. You are saying that okay, I'm ready now. It means that now your Google Gemini, right? It acts like a terminal actually. Now you will say that okay, tell me what is this sudo systemctl reload Apache 2. See. Now you could see that guys, it is giving you all the appropriate output. What the systemctl reload will do, how it works exactly. So there is something like start, stop, restart, enable is there, right? And the next step, see, it will also predict the next step of what user is need. For example, I want ls-l. See, long listing, what the long listing will do. So it is exactly working like a terminal only, Linux terminal only, and you will get all additional examples. So if you don't want the additional examples, you can remove this from here. Also give me some additional examples, right? So I don't want it actually, or else act like a terminal. I'm learning not to become FD. You can copy it. I mean, you can open one more new chat and you can give this like this, so that you will not get any additional examples like this, right? So this is the bash actually. Okay. And apart from this, actually, you can even provide the restriction also. So you need to provide a persona. You are saying that, okay, as I'm a Linux engineer, or as I'm a DevOps engineer, as I'm a senior architect, okay, I want this. Like, you need to first define the role. That is not, but the persona. You have to clearly define objective, what you needed. And then like you can even add the restriction also. This is something optional. We don't need it. I mean, it's an optional, but still I'm just saying that you can even provide some kind of a restriction of what you where you want to limit it actually. The kind of output what you're going to get, right? You want to limit that output also. You can even add the restriction actually. Okay. And you need to even add uh, the context about you also. Right. So for the Linux actually, when it comes to the examples, guys, when it comes to the bash shell, we saw, right? Like for the bash shell. So what kind of a prompt we give, guys? We give a prompt like this actually. This is the prompt which you give it actually. So this is for learning Linux, if you want to learn the Linux. Similarly, for example, I want to learn about the AWS. I want to understand about something like an AWS, right? Can you just see how with the for the AWS cloud, what kind of how we can use the chat GPT? Can we see, guys? Right. Let us go with the new chat now. Okay. So now what I will do, guys, two more prompts I will do, then we will stop the class, guys. Okay. So for example, assume that actually you want to get the case study of certain things actually. Like for example, in AWS, you want to learn about the customer or case studies in the customer end, where you want to like for example, how I can say some case study. Like for example, if I want to say that okay, something like elastic IP is there, how the elastic IP address will be used under the some customer case study. So right like that. Like for example, like that for that, what you're going to do, how you're going to give the prompt actually for the chat GPT. So you'll say that okay, you are an so you are telling to the chat GPT that you are an expert solutions architect in AWS. In AWS, I want you to you I want you tell me case studies of customers in a simple fashion around the topics which I would be entering something. Okay. I am an aspiring DevOps engineer. Okay. Engineer, and what I'll say, understanding the what is it, infra aspects. Okay. Guide me accordingly. This is the prompt I'm giving actually. Is it clear, guys? So when I give this prompt, okay, give this prompt. Now the thing is that, guys, I'm saying that okay, you are an architect. I want some kind of a customer case studies actually. Okay, for example, assume that I want the case study of you know that about in AWS there is something like S3 bucket is there. There is something like S3 Glacier. So we want to really understand that where exactly the S3 Glacier is used in a customer site, right? When the customers are using the S3 bucket, or I want to check whether how exactly they're using this Glacier service at their workplace. So shall we see it actually? So I want a case study on AWS S3 Glacier. Just see, guys, how we are going to get the output. See, case study using SD Glacier for long-term archival, customer backend. He's giving some example. Like there's a fintech bank limited, a mid-size financial, generates a huge volume of customers' statements, audit logs and all. Regulation requires them to store the data for 7 years, even though they rarely access it. So they were allowing all this data in S3 standards and monthly bill was being raised. See, problem statement and what is the simple architect solution, right? What is the life cycle policy, right? How they use this S3 glacier, right? Storage actually, and why they need it actually. Perfect, guys. See, they are given a diagram also to you. See, architecture, application S3 bucket, life cycle rule. Then they try to slowly switch all those data to the S3 glacier. And S3 glacier, they are doing a deep archive, and they'll be able to do auto delete after 7 years. See, this is the perfect architecture diagram. Is it not sounding very well, guys? Now, can't you learn a lot of things from the ChatGPT now? Right? Can you able to give an interview with the ChatGPT saying that, okay, you make your ChatGPT to work to consider as an interviewer, you can sit in front of a ChatGPT. The ChatGPT will ask questions to you. You need to answer all the questions. You got it? A lot of people like that in a day-to-day activity who are appearing for interview, they use the ChatGPT as an interview itself actually. And they'll be keep asking. You can even set the limit saying that for 1 hour, I want this topic to be asked in the interview. Okay, and I'm expert in this level, this level. You can give such input that the chat GPT can understand, and it will behave like an interview in front of you, and it will start asking you questions, and you need to answer all the answers you need to for this question. You need to answer it actually. So like that also people use as an interview also. Okay. Now after this, see, I want now I say that, okay, this is a good thing I learned it. I want to know the use case of Elastic IP. Like where and all Elastic IP can be used in the real time in AWS. Okay. Right. See, they are given the real use case of Elastic IP address, public facing, like they have given it actually. Why we use it actually, where you use it, the Elastic IP, like see Bastion host or jump server, right? What is IP whitelisting? My God, this will give you a tremendous information, guys. This is what I have to effectively use the chat GPT. Now you understood that, Rajesh, I have a knowledge in DevOps and cloud, but I want to enhance my knowledge to next level. Then use this chat GPT. Don't try to do some kind of a cheating business with the help of ChatGPT. No, don't learn. You say that, Rajesh, why I have to learn when everything is ChatGPT? No, ChatGPT will give you the solution for you. But sometimes what happens, what are the output you're getting, right? That might not really work in your real-time work. When you're working it, what are the output you're getting from ChatGPT, the solution, that might not really work there. Sometimes it might not really work there. There what happens, your intelligence will come to the picture. It means that when you have learned certain things, now you're able to easily judge out what is correct, what is wrong actually. At that time, you need the knowledge. But don't ever use this chat GPT or AI tool for cheating business. Don't do that actually. You have to always use this chat GPT or Google Gemini or Perplexity. Any of these tools, you need to use it, use it in for benefiting you, for you to grow more, for you to enhance your knowledge. Only you have to use it actually. Right? And giving sometimes you have to get some exact solution, means you will get through the chat GPT also. And we know that many in everyday day-to-day activity, guys, we use this a lot actually, right? So now what we understood that, okay, this is something very good prompt, Rajesh. By using this prompt actually, like I'm able to get some kind of a case studies from the customer and how they use it actually. So for an AWS, this is one of the prompt actually. Now, for example, one more final use case, guys, then we'll stop the session actually. Now, one more example, like for example, you said, Rajesh, we are making this ChatGPT to consider itself as a build system. Build system is something where you are building the application. Say, for example, if you give a Java as a program to the ChatGPT, what ChatGPT do? The ChatGPT internally will work as a build tool, like it will work like a Gradle tool or the Maven tool. It will take the input of the entire Java program and it will compile the whole program. And finally, what happens? You're going to get a package out of it actually. Right. Now, what you want to do means, what you want to make sure that you want to make this chat GPT so that you need to understand that what the build system does actually. What and all the build system will do. Build system is something like, for example, if you have a Maven tool or if you have a Gradle tool, we know that this Maven tool, Gradle tool, they accept something as an input like a pom.xml. In case of Maven, it expects a pom.xml, plus also it expects a lot of dependency libraries, right, to do it. And finally, what happened that you need to write some write some kind of a build file. That build file, you need to give the input of a pom.xml, plus you need to provide the entire the whole program structure. Like for example, the whole program structure you need to provide it. Once you are giving to the build once you're giving to the build system like a Maven tool actually, that Maven tool, what happened? It's going to build and you're going to get a package out of it. So it means that I want to learn exactly like when we give any kind of an inputs to the chat GPT as a build system, what kind of output you're going to get it, how it will build everything. I need to understand the whole process of it actually. Then Rajesh, how do it? Please use the prompt actually. You have to use the appropriate prompt so that your chat GPT will consider it as a build system only. It'll act like a build system. It'll consider the Maven tool or Gradle tool, whatever tool, and then like it'll build a system and it'll give the package to you. And during the building, it will give you all the things like what in the backend it did everything. Like it needs an input of pom.xml. It needs a whole programming things or the whole programming code, everything in a proper structured form. You need to give all those inputs. Then what happens? Your chat GPT will build and it will give you that. Right. And also you say that Rajesh, I want to even understand everything in a better way. Let it give some like a sample GitHub GitHub URLs actually, so that it has to give me some sample GitHub URL, so that with the help of that sample GitHub URL, tomorrow I want to experiment like how I want to build any kind of Java code. Okay, I need to have a code, right? So it has to even give me some GitHub URLs also. Okay. Oh, fine. Or else tomorrow you're building a .NET application. Oh, okay. It has to understand. It has to work as a MS build. Suppose you are giving something input as a Node.js. Oh, it has to work as an NPM build tool. So suppose you are giving something tomorrow as a Go language as an input. Oh, it has to build the Go language program, right? And you need to get a package out of it. So you can give any kind of input as a language. The Chat GPT should consider as a build system, and it has to appropriately call that build tool to build and give the package to you. Am I clear, sir? Right? So how we do it actually? Like for example, if I go to the Gemini Google, to make this actually, you could see that there is something like a explore gym is there actually. You can use this explore gym, right? So if you click on this explore gym, right, you can experiment with something. You can go with click on the new gym. Here what happened, you need to give some description actually. Like for example, you are saying that Rajesh, I am just building, I know to build and package. I'm a build and packaging expert actually, right? And that's a name actually. And in the instruction description, okay, that's fine. You can even expert, you can copy the same thing, give the description of the same instruction. You have to give something like you are an expert build engineer. You are telling to the Gemini that you are an expert build engineer. I want you to help me in understanding building techniques, tools involved in the language which I enter as Java or Python or whatever, right? For packaging application. I want you to elaborate on commands and also the best practices. Guys, this is something I don't know for every interview, right, which I'm attending now, right? For every question they're asking, what is the best practice you'll follow? What is the best thing you implement? Okay, for every question they're asking nowadays, actually, right? Yeah. Okay, now you could see that actually you have given the context, guys. You have given the context now. Now you are saying that, okay, Rajesh, now you ask it what you want to ask actually. You will say that I want the Java. See, when you give us the Java, it means that, right, that's a great request. You are an expert, blah, blah, blah. See, Maven and Gradle tool, the two most relevant tools, Maven, Gradle tool, and you could see that for the Maven, it needs a pom.xml. And if you come, right, you could see that you can build an archive, the jar, var, or er, or whatever. And the standard procedure is the Maven clean, Maven compile, Maven package. See, Maven clean, you do it actually, and the standard build command is Gradle. So for Gradle, he has given some commands. This is the command. So you could see, guys, it is giving you the elaborate information. See, and also at the end, it will also show you that whether if you want Maven or Gradle. Oh, I win Maven. I'll use Maven. Let's see now how Maven. See, what are the internal things, what are the internal structure of the Maven, how the Maven builds everything. They will give you the entire pom.xml, it needs a dependency, lifecycle, plugins it needs, it's a standard directory layout. That's what I'm saying. This is a standard directory layout which it requires, right? See guys, it will give you the entire, see, and how it is showing an example of pom.xml. He's given an example of pom.xml, right? You could see guys, you will get the entire output actually. And you can even export the whole thing to a sheet actually. You'll be, or you can able to easily get the architectural diagram also. You can get it actually. Right? Right. And also like I want to give some GitHub repos where I can experiment the build and packaging. Let's see whether it gives any kind of GitHub URLs for us. Python, huh? Not Python, Java only. Okay. It is, but I'm not getting that URL, right? GitHub URL. So maybe what happened, guys? What happened? This Flash 2.5, what you're using, right? It might not give all the information to you because this is using some low models actually. If you're going the pro version or higher version, right, where whatever the prompt which you are asking, right, it will give you the GitHub URLs also. It will give you, right. It will also tell you like how to use GitHub URLs, how to clone it, and how to run it. So many other things actually. It will give you the entire information for you, right? So here what happened for case of a building and a packaging actually, right? You need to, you can prompt for this actually. Am I clear, sir? So guys, with this, we will stop it today's session. There are other techniques are there, two more techniques are there. We can use it for effectively using. That's what I said. One is a visualization. And so what you have to do is you have to start no, interacting with this ChatGPT a lot with your own prompts. You know that there are so many people that will say that we have some best prompts available. You'll give exact, you'll get, but you can go with that prompts also. What are the other people have built the prompts, but maybe like what happened, what are the prompts which they have built, right? It is for their context. They might have built the prompts. It might not really work for your requirement. So hence I would say that when we are building a prompts, actually, you use your own words, English language words, to build your own prompts. Okay, and you want to correct it later, you can even correct it later also when it is required for you to correct. So, but I would say that instead of going with people who have already have some kind of a prompts which you have already, they said a lot of specific prompts they have built it actually. I would suggest that not to go with that. You can use as an experiment to go with the other person people's prompts or some techniques they say that just to see how it is. But as a beginner, what we have to do is we need to build our own prompt. So you need to write in the same English text, like how we are saying, right? You need to build like this prompts, and you need to get the solution from this ChatGPT or from this AI tool. This is what we need to do at the very initial stage. So this is the best learning, guys. For everything now, whatever I do, like for example, when I'm teaching Git, when I'm teaching any other topic, right, you will see that I'll be frequently using this ChatGPT and Perplexity, and also I'll be using this Gemini and all to get the solutions actually, right? So that it'll help us for definitely help us in enhancing our knowledge more, because there are so many things that we might not know it, because ChatGPT will give you a lot of solutions to you. By going through that solution, you will learn many things. This is what I need. It's not only that you're learning in a better way actually. This is what we have to use this AI tools in our day-to-day activity. Am I clear, sir? So I know, guys, I took some time today, but I thought that this was required. Hope that this session found useful for you all. Okay, and please start using the Chat GPT, right? And we will see many more techniques in our upcoming sessions. Prompt techniques, right? So, guys, any questions so far? I know I took some time of yours, but yeah, this was needed. And tomorrow session, we'll see that. Let me first ask you the question. If you have any questions. if no questions, let me stop the recording and then like I want to discuss few things. That's what I just wanted to ask you. Any questions, Karthik, Krishna, Pankaj?
Prompt techniques means
No, Rajesh.
Hmm.
interacting with ChatGPT are apart from this.
Yeah, ChatGPT only. ChatGPT or Perplexity, any AI tool. Because here we are giving all kind of a textual thing, English text, like like our natural language, what we speak. That is kind of an input we are giving it actually. So based on this context, whatever you are given, right, based on the role and the context, your ChatGPT will understand it and it will start behaving the way you need it actually. It's something like
Only
I'm talking to the machine actually. You're talking to the machine. So your machine will understand your language and machine will understand your context, what you're talking. Based on that, it will give the output. Whatever you ask it, it will start giving an output to you. Yeah, Karthik.
only text or only language or
Text,
apart from this.
language, visuals, everything. As I said, visual also you can give it. You can give the visual context to it. It will understand the visual context. You saw right at the very beginning. I gave this visual context of
Mm,
this one, right? It quickly understood and then it understood and then it gives some kind of output to you, right?
yes.
It can understand any format, sir. A visual format, text format. If you are giving any kind of a mathematical formula, you give the inputs and it'll dissect and it'll give you what this formula will do for you. And if you, it'll also give you like you give any kind of a formula and you give all the values, right? It'll calculate and it'll tell you the output also like this, right? And you could see that. You could see that these are something, all these models works in a deep neural network, which I discussed actually, right? This is something, a deep neural network. There are more and more hidden values are there. They work in a different dimension there, right? In case of a chat GPT, they work in something like 12,000, 13,000 dimension, the values will take. It will take so much data will be there around it actually. It will see the best suitable, which is the best suitable, nearest, like text what it understands, it takes it and it will predict what's the next value. That's how this ChatGPT or any other AI tool will work actually. So they work and they use this natural processing language only, right? This is how they have built it actually. And it's not one or two models, there are several models are there in the backend, it works actually, right? If you want much more detail about what are those models are used in turn, how it works, everything, yeah, we can discuss that also. Not now, I think it's in some time we can work on it, right? We can discuss on those things. So guys, did you find interesting today's class or it was bore?
It's become
We did
interesting.
something, we didn't know all this, there's something, and today we got to know something. That's what I would say. So people were not aware of all these things. Okay, I mean, I got to know something about, okay, there is something like a neural network, is there something, some algo works actually, and how this AI came to the picture, how this chat GPT or something which came to the picture, what is this GPU, some kind of a words we got to know something in today's class, right? That's what I need. And then like how I can use these tools, yeah, for my data. That's what I, through the prompt I understood. And you need to provide some inputs like this persona, whatever I discussed, right? You need to give this kind of inputs to this chat GPT or in the prompting actually. Okay guys, so with that we will stop in today's session. So let me stop the recording.